Hall of Fame episode, y'all. This right here, I knew once we got to the game, the challenge, I was like, okay, this is this season's pie episode. Y'all remember season 1, the pie episode, the one that Imani made so iconic. This was this episode. Garbi is 1000% getting my vote. If she's still here tomorrow, she's getting my vote. She's getting my vote. She's getting my vote. Lucinda, I'm about to stomp on her in this whole recap. So get ready. But if you're new, subscribe. Do that real quick. We about to finish the season. I think the season's probably gonna wrap up on Sunday. So get with me. Thumbs up the video. Drop the comments down below. Follow the TikTok. I'm probably gonna have something over there tonight. So go follow that. The link's in the bio. Let's go. Because I got a lot of notes. A lot. And yes, I got my H2O. Y'all know I'm going to need it because I'm going to be talking for a minute. This one might be an hour long. All right, so we get back where we left off. Nicola and Kendall, they gone. Johnny calls the squad over to go sit at the fire pit, and he excludes Andrea. She was about to go, but he's like, no. And she goes walking off with Josh talking about something that's weird. But Toby then asked Johnny, like, you wanted everybody over here except for Andrea? And he's like, yeah, that's over. Like, she over there with Josh, that's done. But they all cheers to getting Kendall out. Yay. But Garbi, Justine, Sydney, and Casey, they sitting there in the middle of the yard watching them have this conversation. And Garbi says, if one of them comes over here and tries to hug me, I'm punching them clean in the mouth. I said, that's me. I said, if that ain't me, that's some shit I would have said. But Josh and Andrea, they over at the dock. And Andrea says that Johnny, that when it came to Johnny and them, it sucks because she's good friends with them. But at this point, it feels like it's me and you against the villa at this point. And Josh says it's because they're jealous because we like each other and we're good. I said, nobody is jealous of what you think y'all have. Because let's call it spade a spade. I've been saying it all season. Andrea, I don't see Andrea seeing it for Josh like that. Josh thinks he's going to leave out of this villa and be with Andrea and they're getting married. I don't see it as that. I feel like Andrea is playing the game. Andrea knows Josh is a strong competitor. Yes, I do think she's attracted to him. But she knows, too, he's a good bet for her to compete with because he's going to compete. It's just not, she don't see it for him like he sees it for her. Now, this fake, pick-me, borderline racist Lucinda, she's telling the squad that it's a divide between the girls and she feels like Garbi has a lot. The amount of times that Garbi's name came out of her mouth unprovoked, this episode is crazy. She feels like Garbi has a lot to say about everything that's going on with Kendall going home. So Tyrique was like, I mean, Justine's on my team too at this point. But Lucinda then says, obviously, me and Sydney aren't that close for the obvious reason. I said, for what reason? Besides the fact that you're jealous? Like her walking around with that ex-girlfriend shirt on had you bothered. You bothered. She ain't worried about Isaiah. She's not worried about him. You got him, yet you so worried about her because you're insecure, you're jealous. Like, you so bothered by women that have the confidence in themselves that you don't really have. But Johnny then says, don't let the pressure break this up, talking about their little squad, because Johnny is thinking game-minded. He's trying to make sure he has the numbers. So Lucinda then says that she felt guilty when Kendall left because they're friends outside of the villa. I'm sure because y'all both are fake as fuck. But Tyrique, he's in his confessional stating, like, Andrea, by default, she can't be on their side because she's attached to Josh. And essentially, we got to have each other's back. But Johnny then says, too, like, we have the numbers right now, and we just have to keep going and keep the power. I watched too much reality TV to the point where I already knew in this moment how this episode was going to pan out. I knew those numbers between the core trio. Y'all, my trio, I knew somebody was going to make a move. And, of course, the person that made the move was the one that made the move. But we gonna get, hey, y'all going to see them cuts. Like, y'all know how I be cutting in between. Because y'all know how I get dry mouth. Like, I'll start losing my voice. But Josh, he's telling Andrea that they need to win the power couple because Tyrique thinks that he can skate without doing anything this season, and he wants to throw him in against Toby in a duel. Josh is like Lucinda. The way Lucinda is obsessed with Garbi, Josh is obsessed with Tyrique, and it's unprovoked. They both have one-sided beefs with Garbi and Tyrique. Tyrique only picks with Josh because he knows that Josh is bothered. Lucinda has a one-sided beef with Garbi that Garbi don't even know exists, but we'll get to it. But Garbi is sitting over there with fake-ass Lucinda, who's sitting over there trying to act like she cool and friends with her. And Garbi's obviously whining about Kendall. I don't want to hear it. I didn't write anything down that she stated. But the hater, the sideline hater, Lucinda, sitting there being her fake self, trying to act like she's trying to comfort Garbi. And Garbi says, going forward, the guys are in here playing the game. We got to start playing the game, and it's time for me to start doing the same. And Lucinda then asks, like, are you going to couple up with, she ends up asking if she's going to couple up with somebody. I don't know why I wrote Garbi's name down. But Garbi said, essentially, I'm not telling you nothing. Like, I said, exactly. Don't tell her shit. Don't tell her shit. Don't tell nobody else shit. And she's like, because you with the other side. Like, hello? I said, exactly. And this is when I was like, yeah, Garbi, you 1,000% get my votes. But Josh, he ends up asking Black Sin, Isaiah. Some of y'all think I'm saying Black Sun. I'm saying Black Scent. The one with the black scent trying to act black. The wigger. Yeah, Isaiah. But Isaiah says, what do you mean? Because basically Josh was asking him, like, what the fuck you on at this duel with your, like, was this your coming out party? And Isaiah's like, what you mean by coming out party? So Josh then says, like, you standing with them. Basically, like, you standing 10 toes with them. That's the first time you ever said that shit to me. So Isaiah was like, when was I ever included in conversations before Chris had left? Josh says, I mean, you knew where we stood. Like, you knew where you stood with me, and you knew where you stood with us when we were working. Josh is sitting here screaming. So Isaiah then says, like, I mean, I never had one chat with y'all at that point. So everybody's watching because Josh is over here tweaking out. And Isaiah then says, like, I mean, I picked the people that supported me. Whatever. Josh says, I mean, I can't trust you because you basically a piece of meat that the trio is sitting there dangling in front of a lion. And they'll backstab you in a second. That is the truth. Like, Josh is telling the truth. Isaiah's stupid because if I was in Isaiah's position, I would be over there with Josh. Even though I'm rooting for the trio, me in the game, I wouldn't be attaching myself to that. Because like Johnny eventually realizes in a minute we're going to talk about it. That's 3. And in that 3, there's a duo. There's Tyrique and Toby, who are literally childhood best friends. So you think they're not going to keep each other over you. And then Johnny is the third wheel. And Johnny realizes that he is the third wheel. But we'll get to that in a minute. But with those 3 and you attaching yourself with those 3, you're number 4. You told Josh the other day that you didn't want to compete with him and Johnny in the finals because that would make you 3rd place. But you going with the trio would make you 4th place. So it's like, what? So Josh is right because Josh essentially is trying to get numbers. So basically you could go be with Josh and be his number 1 and y'all could actually get each other to the end. But no, you want to sit over there. But I mean, I get it. I don't get it, but I mean, I get it. But Josh was like, they'll backstab you in a second. But Josh says essentially it's frustrating because me and Isaiah have known each other just like Toby and Tyrique have known each other and had each other's back. So it should be a no-brainer, which it should be. But of course, Pick Me comes over there and pulls Isaiah. Garbi ends up asking Josh, like, what was that? Josh says, I mean, it's just unresolved because Isaiah makes no sense. He don't make no sense. But Toby, he's up there looking for Sydney, who's up in Soul Ties. And she tells us that she feels good. She likes that Toby is mature. All of this was foreshadowed. It's just like she feels like she found a man that she can lean on to be in her feminine energy. I said, get your head in the game. But Toby then says, like, we're getting comfortable and whatever. And he likes her, but he's wondering if she's strong enough to actually compete in these challenges against the other couples because he knows she got to compete against Justine, Andrea, Garbi, Gabby. Those are 4 girls that would tear her and Lucinda would get torn up. And this, I told my sister this watching it. Last season, there was only, at this point in the game, there was only 2 strong girls still there. And that was Justine and Imani. This season, there are 4 strong girls and I just named them. But Johnny and Josh, they're in the bathroom now. And this is when I was like, Johnny, I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, Johnny's probably thinking at this moment in time, yeah, I'm with Toby and Tyrique at this point, but I know they're going to take each other before they take me. So I was like, he probably going to try and start working another angle. And sure enough, that's what he's doing. Johnny says Toby and Tyrique are the head of the snake. Not really. You are, but I see what you're doing. But he's like, I mean, I'm cool with them. But the problem is they don't want either of them making the final. Talking about Josh and Isaac. No, talking about Josh and him. Toby and Tyrique don't want Johnny or Josh making the final. And basically, I'm working with them right now as their weapon in their eyes. Johnny then says, too, they want you out, but I don't really want you out like they want you out. So Josh is like, I mean, I know my goal is to pretty much split up Toby and Tyrique. So this is Johnny working an angle to make sure that he's set on this side if they do swing at him. Johnny's not stupid. But it's bedtime. There's tension between the boys in the room. Josh is in there. Isaiah walks out. Johnny like, what the fuck did I miss? I'm like, yeah, this is good shit. This is the shit I'm here for, like the mess. And it's all in the guise of the game. That's why I enjoy it. This is the type of shit that I live for. This is why I love Love Island games. But Garbi, she got the bed to herself. I said, Garbi, you gonna get you some good sleep tonight after all them duels that you did. Stretch out starfish. I'd have been all over that bed. And you don't have to lay in there and share it with Kendall. Like, you don't realize you won. But everybody's waking up. Same routine as normal. But Garbi tells Justine that she's more motivated now than ever. And Justine says, period. But Casey is talking to Josh about him and Garbi basically being single. And Josh is kind of like nudging him into the idea of like, yeah, y'all need to couple up. Y'all would be a strong pair. Josh wants the numbers on his side. He's trying to build his army. Johnny is talking to Toby and Tyrique, pretty much trying to make sure that they're not trying to take Isaiah to the final. And Tyreek's like, I'm looking you in the eye. I want us in the final. Johnny then goes asking Josh how he and Isaiah are. And Josh is like, I ain't no kiss ass. Yeah, okay. But Tyrique and Toby, they're in the sauna now. And Toby's like, I mean, we're at the stage now where your couple actually matters. Who you're in the couple with matters. And he's like, I mean, I rock with Sydney. And Tyreek's like, yeah, she funny, but bro, you got to get rid of her. That's basically what Tyrique was stating without stating it. But Toby says, I'm not confident in her. Like, when it comes to beating Justine, Gabby, or Andrea, I ain't confident in it either. But Tyrique says, I mean, she gonna get eaten alive competing against them, which is the truth. And he's like, it's time to make a decision. So Toby knows that they're essentially the weakest pair on paper. Now, Tyrique then says, too, like, nice guys finish last. You got to put them feelings to the side because we ain't got time for that shit. I said exactly. But Tyrique then says, like, what about Garbi? Also a strong competitor. She's got way more fight in her. And Toby's like, yes, she done won two duels and she's now single. So then we get a scene with Johnny and Gabby, and he's talking to her about the conversation that he had with Tyrique and Toby. I'm gonna start calling them T-squared because Ty and Toby is getting I'm getting tongue-tied. But T-squared. And he's talking about that if they're trying to go to the final with them three. And he's like, they standing on us being the final three, and that's what I wanted to hear. But if it comes back to bite me, so be it. I said, Johnny, it ain't no so be it. You literally said the first day that you came here to win, and we all know you came here to win. You done got too close both times. Now, he then says, like, Ty being with Justine, that gives him a pit in his stomach because they've known each other for 5 years, and he watched her blindside one of her guy friends in the end the last time. I said, it gives you a pit in your stomach because every time you compete against Justine, you always one away from the win, and she's always the one snatching it from you. But he is right because it proves Justine is going to do what she needs to do to win the game. She cut dumbass Ray last season when Imani was telling him, you need to cut her. He was like, no, that's my best friend. That's my best friend. Just for her to turn around and cut you. And then he's sitting there crying like a fool. And Imani's sitting there looking at him like a dumbass. Y'all want to talk about the finest woman to ever be on TV? If you have not watched season 5 of Love Island USA or Love Island Game season 1, and you've heard me talking about Imani all season, she's a dime. And she played the game. That's why I wish she was on this season. I wish she was on this season. But he says that. And he says, also, like, we have to get power. Like, I feel better because I don't want to have to shoot for Tyrique and Toby at this point. Basically, you don't want to get the blood on his hands at this point. But Gabby's telling us, like, our priority should be getting to the final. I like Johnny, but I feel like in his head, he's really just focused on Tyrique and Toby's game plan. And I said, that's what he's supposed to do. Like, he's supposed to analyze everybody else's too. Because if he's working with them and he's not thinking that they might cut him, he's not playing the game right. So we then get a scene of Toby pulling Garbi for a chat upstairs. And he hugs her and he's like, I'm sorry. And he said, I mean, I had full confidence in you winning that duel. That's why I went and kissed you. And it was just like a good luck kiss. And she said, you Judas bitch. But he then tells her that he feels like she's there to win. She's like, obviously. And he then says, like, you have no couple. And she's like, whose fault is that? I said, it is his fault, but also it's Kendall's fault because he shouldn't have lost. But he then tells us that it's coming down to hard times. Like, I like Sydney, but I don't know if she's ready for these games at this point. Like, he then tells Garbi, you've won 2 duels. I need to see where your head is at because I feel like you could be an option. And Garbi's like, to recouple? He said, yeah, it's a thought. She says men will leave you in the desert with no water. I said, Garbi is funny. But he then says that he wants to win the money. And basically, you need to put yourself in the best position to do it. He's not lying. Sydney, he's like, Sydney knows and says she's just here to serve looks. Are the looks in the room? Y'all answer. Have y'all seen the looks that Sydney's been quote unquote serving? Because I ain't seen nothing. I ain't seen nothing. But Garbi tells us that she cannot trust Tobias. And she started calling him that the rest of the episode. I was dying every time she said it. She said the only logical option is to go with Casey. And she was like, I'm going to play the game. And she said, I'm going to keep it cute. I'm going to play it smart. I'm going to be smart with the information that I share. And I said, this is why I needed Kendall gone, because I knew she had this in her. So Garbi then goes and pulls Casey to go have a conversation. They're downstairs. They're about to walk upstairs. Guess who's watching? Her secret admirer. The one who is so jealous of her. When I tell you this is giving Huda and Shelly 2.0. So Lucinda's sitting there talking to Isaiah, talking about something. They about to go upstairs and talk gameplay. Duh. Because guess what? They're here to play a game, unlike your stupid ass. Like, so everybody else is watching them too and realizing, okay, they're about to go up here and pretty much lock in. So Garbi and Casey, they're up there talking about, like, what's the game plan? Like, are we going to couple up? And he's like, yeah, we're going to couple up. And she's like, good. So she's like, I got some tea for you. She says, Tobias pulled me for a chat saying that he don't have faith in Sydney and he basically wants to couple up with me. So Garbi then says, like, I mean, I plan on telling Sydney that Tobias wants to couple up with me. Every time I say it, I start laughing because he thinks that she's not fit for the challenges because Sydney doesn't like a man basically telling her that she can't and can't do this and can't not do this. So I'm going to go tell her this because that's going to piss her off. Garbi is smart. She knows what she's doing, AKA she's really trying to get numbers away from Toby, which is a number to that group. But she also knows that's going to really get Sydney away from him. So they start laughing about it now. And Garbi says that that essentially will fuck with their dynamic, which it will, and it did. But Casey then says, like, we just got to stay one step ahead of them. Right. And Garbi said, we got to get dirty. And that's what you got to do. That's what I'm signing. That's what I want to see. I want to see this type of shit. So Casey ends up getting a text, and he's laughing about it. Talking about, y'all all fucked. But it says that they're going to be hosting Vegas night where they'll show their hands or hold them close to their chest. Everybody's getting ready, and I'm sitting here salivating. I'm like, this is about to get good. Because it was already good before the episode even started. Before the game even started, it got good, and it's about to get good right now. But Johnny, he's believing that the power squad is locked. And if T-Squared betray him, it's fuck them. Let me get a water break real quick. So we see Tyrique pretty much checking in with Toby, pretty much making sure that he's trying to target Josh and Andrea in the challenge. And T-Squared, they trying to get on the same page and make sure that they good going into it, which is what they should be doing. Like, you should be having at least one clear target so you can at least get the numbers on your side. But Garbi, she's pulling Sydney to tell her about what Toby had talked to her about, and she does. And Sydney's like, I mean, I'm here to serve looks, but I'm here for the game too. And Garbi's like, I mean, I would never couple up with Toby. And Sydney's like, I don't want to couple up with him either. You really don't have a choice at this point. But Sydney then says she don't want to talk anymore because she might cry. So she goes walking off. And she goes and tells the girls that Toby's a snake because he told Garbi that he wanted to couple up with her because he didn't think that she was a good competitor. And then you got pick-me-ass Lucinda sitting there talking about something. He's playing the game. You need to play it better. You're not even playing the game. It's rich coming from you. But Justine gets a text telling them, the girls, that this will be their last time to recouple. As she's getting a text, Josh is getting a text with the boys telling them to go sit in the garden with the girl that you want to couple up with. I said, uh-oh. It's about to get messy. And in this moment, I was like, do the girls even know that they're doing this when they walk out there? But the girls go walking out there. It's a nice Vegas setup. Like, production did their thing with this one. The challenges this season and the duels have been really, really good apart from that spitting challenge. You already know which one I'm talking about. This one, though, right here takes the cake. They did a big one with this one. But the girls sit down. Garbi says to Sydney, don't show your cards too soon, a.k.a. don't say what I said at that moment in time. Just, like, play it out. So the boys come out. Sydney's sitting there seething. She's trying to hold it in. But the boys go and sit next to their girls. So every other dude, as normal, go to sit with their girl. Obviously, Casey goes straight to Garbi. But Toby is trying to get over there to Garbi, too. Casey's already there. Garbi's standing up looking at him like, what the fuck you doing? Like, I'm good. Toby goes to pull the chair because Casey is sitting in it. He goes to pull the chair from from under him. Now they fighting over the chair because Toby ends up getting in it. Then Casey starts pulling. They fighting over the chair. And I said, who do y'all think is jealous watching Garbi getting fought over these two men? These two men fighting over Garbi. Lucinda, of course. But Toby is sitting there in the chair, and Garbi's like, Tobias, get the fuck off the chair. What the fuck is wrong with you? But he walks over there to Sydney, who's sitting there. Classic Sydney. But Garbi says, I fucking knew it. And Lucinda then says, like, Toby was going to recouple with Garbi. And Sydney said, I mean, duh, I know, because she already told me that. And she said to Toby, like, you should have said that shit to my fucking face. You a snake. Like, you didn't tell me that you had a chat with her. So Casey then says, Garbi didn't even want you either. Like, why are you trying to sit here? Sydney sitting there co-signing it. And Toby says, well, I'm here now. Casey says, I mean, you didn't want to. So Sydney then says, I don't want you here either. So Lucinda then asks, why didn't you want to couple up with Sydney? Why would he not want to couple up with Garbi? Garbi is I ain't even saying that Sydney can't compete, but like, he just watched Garbi send two women out back to back. Garbi's been winning competition. Why would he not want to couple up with her? Like, come on. But Sydney then says, like, he just doesn't believe in me. Toby says, I don't think you believe in yourself. I say, just like what Tyrique said to Andreina. But she says, what? Garbi sitting over there smirking because her plan is working. But Sydney then says, that's some bullshit. So, like, when did I ever give you that impression that I didn't believe in myself? But he then said, because she ain't never gave that impression, though. Sydney has always gave confidence, at least here recently. But he then says, like, you said that you was just here to serve looks. She was like, and I'm here for the game, too, idiot. Like, you just sitting here thinking about that, like, thinking that that's what it's all for me. Like, at this point, like, no. But Toby then says, I'm not asking you. It's not like I'm sitting here asking you to marry me, talking to Garbi. And Garbi says, it's crazy because you thought I was going to stab my friend in the back. But Sydney also then says, honestly, say bye to winning. I said, oh, so you're going to throw the challenge. I said, that's about to get interesting. But Toby says, I mean, this is a problem because you want to go home. That's the problem. Like, you want to go home. And she says, I mean, if you think I'm that bad, we going down together because it's going to be fuck you. I said, Sydney ain't playing no games. But Johnny, Tyrique, and Josh, they sitting there eating this shit up because it's good TV. Good TV. The games ain't even started yet. And people already showing their hand. But Sydney ends up getting a text. Of course, it came straight to her as she hid his fish grease. But it says you're chosen, and you're like the couples that y'all just chose, y'all in your final couples. So it's time to put your cards on the table. Welcome to Vegas. Her face that she made had me holler. All right, so let's get to the games. The first, they're gonna play 3 different games, 3 different casino games. The loser of each of these games will be vulnerable. We'll get to it. First game is called the tilting table. If you watch Big Brother, you know what this is. So it's a table where they'll have a ball in there. So basically what they're doing is trying to get the ball into the slot of the couple's name that they want to be vulnerable. So they have 3 chances to do it. So they can throw the ball 3 times into one, or they can split it up. If you're smart, you would throw it all in one person, in my opinion. Sydney and Toby, they're up first, of course. The two that have tension at this point. So they sitting up there arguing because Toby's trying to figure out like who they gonna choose, and Sydney's sitting up there about to cry. She eventually starts crying. She walks away. Andrea's like, it's obviously gonna be me and Josh, but Sydney walks away crying, and Toby comes over there trying to work out a plan. She's talking, I don't want to talk to you. She walks away from him again. I said, this is a mess. But they eventually come back. Hold on, I just messed up my note. So they start going, they say that they're going for Garbi and Casey because they're less close to them. And Sydney said, that's not true. Garbi is actually my friend. And Garbi said she didn't expect it because she helped Sydney, pretty much making sure that she knew that she wasn't going to get blindsided about what Toby did, but it is what it is. I said, I mean, it really wasn't Sydney's decision. But they start trying to get the ball to go down. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, if I was Sydney, I'd be fucking it up. I'd make it go when somebody's dead he didn't want, a.k.a. Tyrique. But they get it in Garbi and Casey's. They deliberate again. This next time they go for Josh and Andrea. Justine's like, why would y'all split it up? Like, why would y'all not just target one person? I said, exactly, Justine. But they get it in Josh and Andrea's. Everybody's giving them props on doing so well, a.k.a. just kind of like sticking it to Toby. Oh, y'all actually performed well. You sitting here worried about her. But they go for Josh and Andrea again. Pick Me and Black Scent, they get up there and they go for Garbi and Casey, of course, because Lucinda's obsessed with Garbi. She's jealous of her. But they go for them. And Garbi knew it was some bullshit because she's like, I mean, I would have gotten targeted regardless of who I was sitting up here with. But they get it in theirs 3 times. Garbi, hold on, y'all, I can't talk. Garbi and Casey, they go up there next, and they're going for Toby and Sydney. They should have went for Lucinda and Isaiah. I'd have bombed on them. But they got it in the red zone for the first one, which that didn't count. So they then go a second round. Casey's like, sorry, because he goes for Toby. And Toby's like, you're not sorry. And he's like, yeah, I'm not. I said, this is that beef they was talking about. But they get it in Sydney and Toby's. The third time they get it in there again. Josh and Andrea go up. They go for Sydney and Toby. They get it in there 3 times. Johnny and Gabby go up there. They go for Garbi and Casey. They get it in there 3 times. Casey thought that he and Gabby was going to be good because even though they exes, they came in here talking about they was going to have each other's back. Sir, there's $250,000 on the line. She ain't your partner, so she going to come for you. But Gabby said she didn't know what she did to make, not Gabby, Garbi says she didn't know what she did to make these people so mad with her. I said, because you good. That's what it is. And then one of them wants to be in your skin because she jealous of you. And she low-key racist. But Justine and Ty, low-key but high-key. But Justine and Tyrique, they go for Garbi and Casey as well. They get it in 3 times. So Garbi thinks that Sydney is mad at her now and is confused as to how she'd even be in Sydney's top 3 considering the fact that she did her a solid. It's a game. But the first game is done. Garbi and Casey are the first couple that are vulnerable. The second game is a shuffleboard. They have to pretty much slide a puck down, land on a number to get these martinis that they can throw in a couple's face that they want to make vulnerable. This is the martini version of the pie last season. If you didn't watch the pie last season, go watch it. It made Love Island Games season 1 iconic, thanks to Imani. But you fucked me in my clothes. Well, you have a nice wardrobe. Pie me real good. Get it on your clothes. I don't give a fuck. Imani was goated. If you missed it, go watch it. But they slide that puck. Garbi and Casey, they go up and they throw theirs in Toby and Sydney's. Keep in mind, Garbi and Casey, they can't get targeted because they're already a vulnerable couple. Keep that in mind. Josh and Andrea go up. They choose Sydney and Toby. Pick Me, Lucinda, racist, and Black Scent. They get up there. Lucinda throws hers first, and it lands on a 2, the number. Isaiah goes up there and does his turn, and it just happens to hit hers. Did it hit hers? Yeah, it hit hers. His fell off and knocked hers to 3. This chick started getting mad. So I'm why would you do that? You think he had control of where the fuck that ended? And then she's sitting there talking about it's annoying. I cannot stand this girl. I was about to say I hate her. I don't know her, but I really cannot stand her. She is without a doubt. It's crazy because I thought I liked her at the beginning of the season. She is without a doubt one of the most annoying people that I've seen on this show. She might be worse than Tyler Perry and bitch ass. But the first set, they throw it in Johnny and Gabby's face. Lucinda then says that she did it because she's not voting for she's not doing it for Sydney and Toby. Andrea's her best friend, and then here she go. Anybody saying otherwise, that she's not jealous of Garbi and has some type of weird hatred towards her, Garbi ain't done nothing to this girl. She don't want some. I definitely would have chose Garbi. For what? For what? Garbi ain't did shit to you. You just a hating ass bitch. That's really what it is. But she then says it was between them and Johnny and Johnny and Gabby. But Lucinda, she's sitting there laughing after she threw it in Gabby's face. Yet if they threw it in her face, she'd have been sitting there crying. But Johnny and Gabby, they get up there, they want to throw it back in their face, but they start thinking about competition, smart. But they throw it in Josh and Andrea's face, and you could tell Johnny was enjoying it, and Josh was getting upset. We already knew Josh was gonna get upset. But Justine and Tyrique, they go off competition as well. They go for Josh and Andrea. Josh is sitting there talking about something. Thanks, Justine. Like she owed you loyalty. Like you didn't just literally leave her when you played in her face. Josh, please. But Tyrique and Justine, they cracked me up because they was leaning into it. Tyrique was ducking that shit. I said, get him. Get him. Because you could tell Josh was getting upset. He can't stand the fact that Tyrique is getting one-ups on him. And Tyrique was enjoying the fact, because you could tell Tyrique don't have beef with Josh. Josh has one-sided beef with Tyrique and has had it with him since day one. The first day, I thought it was just Josh being competitive, but it is very clear that Josh He bothered by Tyrique. Like, bothered. And Tyrique ain't bothered by him, but Tyrique is Tyrique. Tyrique knows, okay, well, this nigga is bothered by me just literally existing. I'm going to continue to troll him because I know that I can. That is some shit that I would do. I'm a Leo. That's some shit I would do. Like, if I know my presence bothers you that bad, I'm going to continue to do it and do whatever I feel is going to bother you because I know I'm going to get a rise out of you because I'm bored. Like, Tyrique is bored, and he knows that Josh throwing these little temper tantrums, short man temper tantrums, he going to eat it up. But Josh is in his confessional saying Justine's loyalty was supposed to lie with him, but at this point, it's the Tyrique and Johnny show. Why would Justine owe you loyalty? Why? You didn't show her any loyalty. Like, but Tyrique then tells Josh that he might want to go see Kendall and Chris. I said, that's why that's my boy. Josh then says, like, why? Like I haven't been stating that I want to be here every day. Tyrique says, you might want to go join them. I said, exactly. But Toby and Sydney, they go for Josh and Andrea. The little man is just getting more and more upset. Like, he trying his best to not throw a tantrum. But Andrea is taking it on the chin. Like, she says in her confessional, this is a joke to me. Like, I'm making it look like I got a wet look. I'm looking good right now. Josh is sitting, and she says that Josh is taking it personally because he's tired of everybody ganging up on him. I get it, but it should be fueling me because it should be fueling you because it's fueling her. And I'm like, exactly, Andrea. That's why I can root for Andrea. Andrea, she taking the shit on the chin. Like, she's had it rough. Her whole Love Island experience has been rough, but she's taking the shit on the chin. Like, that's why she's likable. Josh is not likable. Josh could be somebody that you would root on because he is the underdog essentially, but the way that he moves about it just makes him unlikable. But Lucinda, which is crazy because I was a big fan of Josh on season 3, but Lucinda, she's sitting there whispering to Isaiah, Garbi's giving me the side eye. Always talking about Garbi. Garbi's name is always in her mouth. Like, it's crazy. But she giving you the side eye because your stupid ass just flat out said you would throw a drink in her face unprovoked because she's not even up there to even. I'm so sick of this woman. But Andrea and Josh, they're now vulnerable. Josh is like, anybody shocked? We're going to see who's glazing who now. And then he says, I thought this was Love Island Games, not Friend Island. Yet you're upset because you thought you had friends that had your back on a game called Love Island Games. Like, make it make sense. Tyrique says, bro, I don't get it. Why are you acting so surprised? Josh says, I'm not. Tyrique says, so why are you still talking? Hello. Hello. But Josh then says, because I can. He says, if your reason for taking out the best competition, if your reason for doing it is to taking out the best competition, it's the next couple that's sitting next to you, basically Johnny and Gabby. Tyrique says, Johnny's had my back since day one. The next person in the game that is the best competition is you. Like, take the shit as a compliment. That's really what it is. But Josh is in his confessionals worried about Tyrique. Just worried about him. I said, you just mad because Tyrique is playing a better game than you. You mad because you've had to fight the whole time. Tyrique has not had to fight the whole time because Tyrique's game is solid. Tyrique has had a literal... His social game is what's carried him this far in the game. You don't have that because you tweak out. You don't have that because you are a fucking ticking time bomb. You don't have a social game where people don't actually want to stick their neck out to make sure that you don't end up possibly going home. Like, Tyrique ain't had to do that, and that's why you mad. But game 3 is on some low-key poker shit for real. But they'll draw cards that are up on a wall, and it'll represent one vote against the couple. Now, in those cards up on the wall, there's 3 jokers that are hidden. All these cards are hidden, so they just go up there and pick by random. And they'll have to draw a minimum of 2 cards, but a max of 5. So you can basically stop picking after 2, but you got to stop at 5. So they'll go up there one at a time as a couple. Sydney and Toby go up there. Toby pulled the Joker first time. Sydney says it's fitting because he is a fucking Joker. He's a clown. She's like, that's what he gets. Tyrique and Justine, they get up there and they got 4 of them. They played it safe, went and sat down. Me personally, if I got Justine up there with me, we picking that 5th one. Because Justine got some type of luck. She done won 2 shows. Done went on the challenge, got to the finals. She got a lucky hand somewhere. Johnny and Gabby go up there. Johnny pulled the Joker. I said, damn. Damn. There's only 1 Joker up there left. All the cards have essentially been drawn. they now have to write the name of the couple on each of their cards that they have that they want to make vulnerable on each card. Tyrique starts whispering to Justine, I have to pick Toby. I said, ooh. And I said, this is why I love Tyrique. Even his best friend is not safe. Tyrique is here for the money. He's here for the money. She asked, like, is that really what you want to do, or do you want to take a shot at Johnny? I said, Justine, there you go, playing that game. That's what I'm talking about. So Tyrique starts writing, and Justine says, no. I said, oh, what's about to happen? Johnny whispers to Garbi, we might go home. Andrea and Josh, they get up there, all four of their cards. They wrote Toby and Sydney. I was shocked. I thought for sure Josh was going to go for Tyrique. Black Sin and Racist Pick Me put Johnny and Garbi down on all five of them cards. Lucinda talking about take it as a compliment. Now, if they would have did that to you, you'd have been crying and having a whole fit. A whole fit. It's crazy how when it's her on the other end doing shit, she has no problem with it. But when it's done to her, she got a problem with it. But Garbi and Casey, they put 4 on Toby and Sydney. Toby and Justine. Not Toby and Justine. Tyrique and Justine. They vote for Johnny and Garbi 3 times, and Pick Me and Black Sin got 1. Sydney and Toby got 1, I think. Y'all know if you watched. But I said, this is a game move. That's a game move. But Johnny and Garbi sitting there looking at them like, wow. I said, Johnny, that's what I knew. I knew this was going to happen based off at the beginning of the episode. But Toby then says that Tyrique, you could have just saved Johnny. Like, you didn't have to send it to a tie. Johnny then says, I mean, it is what it is at this point. We'll figure it out. But Johnny and Garbi versus Sydney and Toby, because they're tied. So what they then have to do is pull a card. There's 2 cards up there. They have to pull a card. Whoever has the lowest card is vulnerable. Johnny goes up there and pulls it. I said, damn, Johnny, damn. And I was mad because I wanted it to be Sydney and Toby, because we got 3 strong couples in the bottom 3, and one of them will be going home. I'm like, damn, I wanted Lucinda going. But if it wasn't her, it's going to have to be Sydney and Toby. But Johnny gets a text confirming that they're vulnerable. Like I said, 3 strong couples are vulnerable. Ariana arrives. Of course, they get nervous. She asks how they feeling. The vulnerable ones are like vulnerable. Sydney says, I feel vulnerable too because he clowned me. Ariana asks, are y'all done? She says, yes. Like, clearly there was no connection from the beginning, because if there was, he would have believed in me. But Ariana then asks Josh and Andrea if they feel like this is a compliment that they're always getting targeted. Josh says, yeah. Johnny says the same thing, pretty much like, yeah, it is a compliment. And he's like, it's good to know, though, who put their cards on the table. And he tells Black Sin, you made your bed. I said, come back and get them. But Pick Me, racist Pick Me, Lucinda says, I think it's dumb, to be honest. Who asked you? Who asked you? Johnny says, I mean, it's not. She says, I mean, don't blame Isaiah for the decision that I made. Isaiah's sitting over there copping a plea with Johnny, and Johnny says, I'm not coming for you, Lucinda. But I mean, if I come back, the dog is out of the cage. She says, for us? He says, yeah, obviously. I'm like, yeah. And Garbi was sitting over there laughing. I said, yeah, get your laughs in, Garbi, because, like, fuck her. But Toby then says, like, he wouldn't have gambled on Tyrique, but that's how different they are. I said, uh-oh, trouble in paradise. Ty was like, we're going to talk. They going to squash it. They going to get on the same page. But Ariana, she then says, it's time to raise the stakes. It ain't done yet. She says 1 couple will be dumped from the island and lose their chance at the money. So she has the 3 vulnerable couples come up there with her. She has a roulette table, a roulette wheel. And so basically it's going to have all the names of the safe couples on the wheel. She's going to spin the wheel. The safe couple, because there's a ball, the ball that lands on the safe couple will get to choose which islander to dump. Y'all tell me what y'all would do in this situation. Let me get it out. Pick Me sitting there talking about something. Let it be me. Let it be me. Why? So you can send Garbi home. We know what you're going to do, you weird bitch. Like, I try not to call women bitches, but she is a bitch. I can't stand her, yo. But Ariana, she then says, before we do it, I got one more game for y'all to play. I see. That's what I'm talking about. Like, they literally tore this episode up. But each vulnerable couple, they will draw a card from the deck. Whoever draws the highest can choose another roulette wheel. Now, if they do, they're taking the decision away from the safe couple. Now, what they're doing, though, is putting their fate into the hands of luck. Like, this is basically luck of the draw. Ariana tells him, I will spin this wheel. If that ball lands on red, you're safe. If it lands on white, you are dumped immediately. What would y'all do? What would y'all do? I'm about to tell y'all what I would do. Because that's just the type of person I am. If I was to play a game, I'd be playing it. So they draw cards. Johnny and Gabby had, I think, the lowest one. Lowest or the highest. Regardless, they were first. Johnny was like, I'm not leaving it to 50-50. Somebody can give it to me straight. Josh and Andrea pretty much do the same thing. They don't want to risk it. It gets to Garbi and Casey. Garbi said, I want to gamble because it ain't looking good. What Garbi did is what I would have did. Fuck y'all. Y'all not going to get the chance to send me home. If I'm going home, it's because of me. It's because of me. So I would have risked it too. I'd have gambled too. Like, and consider my luck, I'd have been straight. But it left on a cliffhanger. Garbi has to stay. Garbi has to stay because Garbi will get my vote to win the show. Because, like, the way she played this game, she turned this game on its head. Like, she literally did. Like, she got rid of Kendall and she really got activated. For real, for real. Casey's cool, too. Like, Casey, I like the energy he been giving. Out of the couples, Garbi and Casey got to stay. Johnny and Gabby got to stay. Andrea, big love to you. Josh, you got to go. You got to go. Because I feel like the ones that are going to give us a good show for the rest of this is Garbi and Casey, because they come back in with a pre-existing storyline already. Garbi can go get her lick back on that little weird racist bitch that's jealous of her. Casey can come back and keep beefing with Toby. That's going to be good. Then you got Johnny coming back to get with Lucinda's racist ass and Isaiah. And then you still got Toby and Johnny, or not Toby and Johnny. You still got Toby and Tyrique. This season is good, man. It's good. It's ending really, really spicy, just like season 1 did. But if you got this far, give me that. And haven't already, give me that. Get in the comments. I don't have to tell y'all that. I already know y'all will. I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace.